digital age, the economics regarding digital currency and, paper currency and other things, as well as some historical aspects, because there is a lot of misconceptions. One of the biggest things that actually, hurt India recently, most people don't even know it happened, back in 2016. It's 2023 now. They've recovered. Good for them, by the way. They outlawed physical currency, and their market completely crashed. It ruined everything. It was not a good time for India. It was actually a very rough time. They recovered. They're doing fine now, but they tried to get rid of and do away with cash, and it was not a very popular thing to do either. You'll notice that they have a new and different leader. The other thing is, I want to point out, on the other end of the spectrum, we got Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, they got invaded by the Soviets. They became a puppet state for the Soviets. They've been harassed throughout the century. They've been harassed by, Nazis, then the Soviets, then pirates, then terrorists, then a brutal dictatorship. Now they're kind of in a good state. But they had an issue where banks only had so much cash on hand, that they could only hand out so much cash. You would have to go and wait in the bank and wait in line, and wait hours on end, and then find out that they ran out of cash, and you would have to come back another day. So they did something pretty ingenious. They made the ability to add and text money. You add money to an ATM, they collect it. You now have ATM money in your account on your phone. They identify you by your SIM card, so you cannot be hacked or stolen from. You'll notice that on our debits and credit cards now, we have little SIM cards in the middle of them, and we can do chip scam. That is actually a thing that is specifically to try to copy what Zimbabwe did. The United States government is trying to slowly wean us off of credit and debit cards and wean us onto using things like Google Wallet and other, companies and digital companies, because it's more effective, it's more efficient, it's more secure. And not only is it more efficient, more effective, more secure, each SIM card is linked directly to you specifically. So there is no theft, there is no laundering money, there is none of these things that, is untraceable or whatnot. Identity theft becomes a lot more rare too. Digital theft becomes more rare. It's not impossible, but it is more secure than using a credit or a debit card. You notice that there's Chime app and other apps, let you get paid a day early, let you take loans, all kinds of things, okay? It's very effective, and it works for Zimbabwe drastically, and everybody else is now trying to jump on the bandwagon and copy that. That's where the chip in your card comes from. It's actually not anything malicious, it's actually something very helpful. However, I also do want to point out the negative aspects of, having digital money and digital currency, which is one of the things is, if somebody cuts you off from the rest of the world, your money goes down the toilet. Your money's gone. That happened to Russia. Russia deserved it at the time, but it's not really hurting Putin. Putin's ultra rich. He's a dictator. Nobody cares. He makes plenty of money. He continues living his life as is. Who did get hurt by it, though? All the middle class and lower class citizens, they all got hurt by that. They all just lost money. Their money disappeared. Now they're starving and whatnot. They got cut off from PayPal. They got cut off from, Wells Fargo. They got cut off from everything. The only thing that they could do was, create something called Boosty, which, is actually pretty decent, by the way, and it works in conjunction with PayPal, blah, blah, blah. Because a lot of them, there's not really actually a lot of jobs in Russia, you'll notice. It's actually not looking too good in Russia. So a lot of these people make their money doing, online services, digital artwork, audio, voice acting, or other things, and I'm actually very experienced with commissioning certain things, artwork. But, for fuck's sakes, I'm a furry channel. Get over it. But, that aside, it just, they immediately got cut off from it, and next thing you know, people are starving, they're going broke, they're losing their homes, they're going homeless, a lot of things. So having a completely only digital cash is not necessarily the answer or solution. In fact, it's not really a good idea. Because here's the thing, Russia's case, it was the US, the United Kingdom cutting them off. They're still connected to China, Korea, and all them, but that was enough to just absolutely bankrupt the country. The same thing can happen to us because guess who we're connected to? We're connected to China. Well, China doesn't actually like us. If China cuts us off one day, suddenly everybody's losing money that they, wish they had. In fact, one of the scariest things about China right now is that they own a bunch of land and a bunch of, US, loan and bank and all kinds of things. If they suddenly decide to sell it, we would be looking at another Great Depression, and one that probably would last 4 times as long. And Congress, what was their answer to this? They have no answer. They have no idea how to fix this. They have no plan. They have no preparation. If China just cuts us off one day, we're kind of screwed. So doing entirely digital would actually make this worse. It would basically be the last thing that they need to just fully ruin the United States economically. And they are very much engaged in economical warfare with us. They're using our economics as a hostage to try to get their way. I don't like Trump, but one of the things he did try to do is get us away from China. You know, I would just wish he did infrastructure first because that's important. Have you ever noticed that things are skyrocketing in price? And that's because now we're having to pick up the slack of cutting off China instead of doing infrastructure first and then cutting off China. A little frustrating. But I digress because here's the thing. If we don't cut off China, they're going to cut us off. And if they cut us off, we're going into ruin. Okay? It's going to get worse before it gets better, if we do. And if we don't, it's going to get worse and then continue to get worse. We are very much in what, the communists would call late stage capitalism. Now, I don't think they could absolutely, annihilate us completely, but they can make things very difficult for us. And, well, life's already difficult enough right now. Now, the other thing I want to point out, and this is related to physical cash, is coins. They're useless. They actually cost us money. They cost more money than they're actually worth. Finland and a couple other countries have gotten rid of coins and they just round up to the nearest dollar, and it's more effective and it saves them trillions of dollars a year. That's something we should be doing.